Well, I got to work on the Belarus. I think I got a stuck thermostat. It heats up, run like 10 minutes, and it'll start heating up. So I think it's a thermostat. And it's probably the original one, so no big deal. Uh, except for the fact that I might have trouble, normally some parts like that have to come from Belarus, though one of the biggest parts suppliers in the world is in Milwaukee. Certain parts have to come from Belarus. So we'll see. Though, like a thermostat, pretty generic thing, and I might have one on hand that'll fit, if that's the problem. So we'll see. I mean, worst case scenario, it could be like a head gasket is not an impossibility, though I don't see water getting into the cylinder or into the oil, so I suspect thermostat. But there's some stuff I want to talk about. I had just finished watching a little earlier this morning a video from that Alexander McCoris. It was on Duran. And I thought it was funny, in watching that, in the comments I kept seeing people referring to the number of ads that were in the video. Now, when I watched it, there was no ads whatsoever. So I don't know what's going on there, except that I have noticed, like on the last video I put up, they did leave it up, which was a good thing, but they really piled the ads on it. Now, I think what's happening is, as YouTube keeps, demonetizing people and kicking people off, and, they're really going at it, I think their ad revenue has dropped greatly. So what they're doing is anything that they can run, they pile the ads on. I know YouTube has been taking a beating. Like, I know they did like a hiring freeze and they've been letting people go, this sort of thing. Because, like I say, YouTube has kind of lost its relevance and they're feeling it in their pocketbook, which is a good thing. But I think that's why there were so many ads on that. In theory, though, like I say, on that Duran video that I watched, there was no ads on my end of the thing, so I don't know. But some people, quite a few people mentioned there was ads like every 3 or 4 minutes. And I did notice on the video I put up yesterday, they had really piled them on. Though I fully expected that one to be demonetized. So they're getting desperate. Or maybe they're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Well, I was also going to say, I saw a video yesterday from somebody, and it was kind of from the UK, but it was, I believe, somebody that was out of like some African country that was, there was something in the speech that it wasn't British, it was somebody else, from a different country. Now you have to be very careful, like say when you run across these that have got the robotic speech going on, they're full of disinformation, but there's a lot of those that are being paid to put those videos up. But what struck me right away on this one, they'll have some scandalous title that gets you interested. But one of the first things this person said was that almost the whole world is united against the Russians. And, right away I thought, okay, that's not right. It's funny because people think of the whole world as really the West. You know, they totally discount all of the other countries. You know, there's a lot of countries that have suffered from our interventionist policies in the past. They are certainly not on the West side in this conflict. You know, the vast majority of the world is not on the West side in this conflict. Uh, so to say almost the whole world, no, no, not by a long shot. I mean, when you start looking at like China and India, that's a hell of a lot of people. Uh, you know, there's and all of these South American countries that we have done dirty on for all those years. No, they are not on the west side. Uh, it was interesting to hear that, though. You know, like it's a united front against Russia. No, not at all. I mean, there are countries that are trying to remain neutral, which is a smart way to be in this kind of thing. And there are countries that just know better than to get involved, you know, to speak up in this. But they aren't rooting for the West. No, they aren't. They've seen what we're capable of. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But just outright false statement that will never be tagged as disinformation by YouTube because it's what they're promoting. You know, you got to look close when you see that sort of thing. But there's many times when I watch stuff like that and I hear outright lies. You know, and to me, that is a little spooky. But then I know, you know, like I say, there are a lot of those that are being paid to promote that sort of angle on it. You know, that's okay if that's what they want. But no, you've got to really watch them carefully. It's funny because I always hear I see videos. You know, I get accused all the time of, oh, they only want to watch what agrees with you. No, I don't. I actually watch the other stuff, but like I say, I see big holes in their narrative. I mean, there's some stuff I can't watch, you know, like when that spokesman for the administration gets on and she'll yammer on for like 45 minutes and it's all obfuscation, you know, there's nothing there. You're not going to learn anything from that. They're just trying to cover their ass all the time. So, no, I don't even bother trying to watch that anymore. I mean, she's not even entertaining. But I watch some stuff. But like I say, I'm watching with an eye to what they're trying to avoid talking about. But there's just a lot of bullshit that goes on. But the idea that the whole world is united against Russia, though, there's a hell of a lot of people rooting for Russia, including in this country. You know, people. You know, if they were to actually take an honest poll of how people feel about this, you know, people who have any information on it, you know, I think they'd be a little surprised, which is probably why they don't, because they know. They know people don't agree with their policies and never have, you know. But I thought that was interesting. But, you know, I think Alex, the one who was suspended off the Duran, I think he's got like a couple more days and then he'll be back. But, you know, they use this as a, you know, kind of a slap with a ruler, you know, is what they use their suspensions for. Doesn't really have that effect on me. But like I said, there's people who are trying to make a go of this, trying to make some kind of a living off of YouTube. To me, that's just a horrible position to be in. For years I didn't monetize anything, but I found that if you don't monetize it, there's no incentive for YouTube to even have it on. So yeah, you do get slammed with ads. But it's either that or you won't be shown. Because you'll always see that on any video that has been demonetized, the views will drop way down. You'll get your regular subscribers, though they do like to play with notifications and not even tell, because I see that all the time. There's people I'm subscribed to that every once in a while I'll think, wow, I haven't heard from them for a long time. Well, and then I'll look on their channel and sure, they put up 2 or 3 videos that I was never notified of. That's just how YouTube works. Or it doesn't work. But you do have to, if you don't hear from somebody for a while, you gotta kind of look a little bit to see what's going on. Because they will actually unsubscribe you. Oh well, but hopefully this will kind of come to an end, one way or the other. It drags on as long as these people are in power, and as long as our media cooperates with them, it'll go on and on. It's funny, they're talking now, like Russia was gonna, or intends to make a peace offering kind of to the Ukrainians, which is really us again, the West. But they're doing it, there's no way they're going to agree to this, because they're never going to accept that those provinces that revolted, that they have any autonomy of their own. They're never going to accept that. Problem is, if they did accept it, you could not count on it whatsoever. That was those Minsk Accords, they did the same thing. So they're going to make an offer, which they will reject, I am certain. I hope, because if they accept that, yeah, it'd be great in theory that, okay, that war would come to some kind of an end, but they'd never live by it. It would just give them an opportunity to build up more weapons and bring in more mercenaries, so there'd be no point in it. But I think it's, Russia's making an offer with the thought that it will be rejected, because then I'm pretty sure they're going to go for Odessa. I don't see how you can leave Odessa sit. I think that'll have to be. If Ukraine were smart, or if we had the brains, because we're the push behind all this, we'd try to keep Ukraine with some kind of seaport, but it would not work out well. I mean, there would be no end to this. If they take Odessa, at least then there's a chance for some kind of a conclusion here. Though, like I say, then Poland's going to take a chunk of Ukraine, and the Ukrainians they're convinced that Hungary is going to take a chunk. Belarus might take a chunk. So there ain't going to be much left of Ukraine when this is said and done. But they've pretty much been decimating their population. I guess maybe they don't need the room. But we'll see how this. But like I say, I'm sure this will be rejected out of hand because we're still convinced. We're trying to talk ourselves into believing that this is a winnable. That they can push them all the way back. And now they were given. They're doing a slippery thing here too with them HIMARS, with the long range version. They're giving them to like Estonia, and then Estonia can move them into Ukraine, because they know that will be the trigger. If they start with long range stuff hitting into Crimea, that'll be the trigger. So they're trying to distance themselves from that. We are. But they know darn well if Ukraine gets them, they'll use them. And like I say, probably isn't the Ukrainians running these. It's probably our guys. That's the only explanation I can come up with, because there's no way you can train them people that quickly on that equipment. So we'll see, but I suspect that if they start hitting in Crimea, or like they still, that bridge just buggers the hell out of them. If they can take that bridge out, I think that'll be the real trigger where Russia will hit it hard. Because Russia, now they're committing like 15% of their military might in this little conflict. If Russia really gets pissed off, I think things will go rather quickly. But then Odessa is gone. That's funny, like I say, Hungary's trying to stay kind of neutral. They kind of have to stay neutral because they get all their energy from Russia. And they're looking out for their own people, which is a smart thing to do. But I thought it was funny that they're in trouble now with the EU because, they're getting the energy, and they actually have a subsidy on the gas for people, for their cars. So what happens is people from other countries are driving into Hungary to fill up with gas, where they can get it cheap, and then driving back out. So they started charging them a different rate for out-of-country license plates. Oh, this just pisses the EU off to no extent. But it's, if you're doing a subsidy on the gas, it should be for your people, not to become a gas station for the rest of Europe. It's like here, where people have been driving down to Mexico to fill up because it's cheaper to drive to Mexico to get gas than to buy the high-priced gas here. So that's an interesting thing, and I think the Mexicans are going to get tired of that after a while. But I don't believe Mexico is actually subsidizing it, but Hungary is. They're holding their price down, and other countries want to take advantage of that, but then the EU is saying, oh, you're part of the EU, you have to have open borders and free trade, and our dollar's as good as your dollar, and so they're a little squawk there. But Hungary's in a tough place, dealing with the EU. But like what I say about, the Brics nations, when they talk about, the whole world is united against Russia, look how many countries are in the Brics nations now, and how many are lined up wanting to get into that. I think that is really pissing our State Department off. We're trying, like down in South America and stuff, we're getting more involved down there. we've kind of burnt those bridges, so I think it's kind of hard. So like we're bringing in people from Venezuela as refugees when they wouldn't be refugees if we would not have interfered in Venezuela. But we can't keep our hands off that sort of thing. But we've made some pretty hard feelings in that area. So we're bringing them in here. Boy, that's going to come back to bite us. All those people and refugees that are coming in, we caused all that. We destabilize every country. We caused this refugee crisis. And now we have to deal with them here. Yeah, well, get this Russian monster torn apart and see what I'm dealing with. Which is a good tractor, but like I say, and I've always been able to get parts for it. But, now, I'm not sure, what, like, the parts coming out of Belarus, what kind of a problem that would be. But like I say, I'm pretty sure I can make something else work. But like I've mentioned this before, I like when stuff that I order now, I try to, it's important to me when I look and I see that it's shipping from the United States. Okay, that's a good deal because shipping, a lot of times, like if you buy something, you don't realize that it's coming out of China. Like the one thing I'm working on is coming out of China. That can take months, at this time. It used to be it would take a couple weeks, but now you're looking a good couple months to get stuff out of China because they aren't shipping near what they used to. It just takes a long time. And I'm afraid something coming out of Belarus could really take a long time. I know I'll talk about it. I bought some mushroom spore out of one of those countries. Boy, that took a long time to come. And I'm not real sure if it's, well, it might be, the whole deal might be shaky. But we'll see about trying that. But I would say if you're looking to order something from somebody, you do want to make sure it's coming from in this country, though even that can be a shaky thing. I mean, there's so many problems in shipping now. Just with the cost of fuel and stuff, things get routed strangely. I have things that come and you look at the tracking and you see it made a hell of a journey to get here, from in this country. But it's because they're routing it in such a way as to be the most economical for them, even if it takes a week or two longer. Well, get at this. I got other stuff to work on. Oh, but that grizzly has been working fine. There are some little things I want to work on yet on that. And it's a little scary. Some of them parts have to come out of China, and that could be a problem. Like I want to get radiator hoses. I want to replace both of them. The only ones I could find, other than used ones, are coming out of China. Well, that could be a while, so you're going to have to think ahead on a lot of that stuff. But I got a list of odds and ends I got to do on that. But I've been using it, like yesterday I was pulling, I get a lot of these little trees that grow up that are in the way. Been cutting them down and getting them out of here. I've been dragging them with that. And it works fine. So that'll be a handy tool. And I do want to get a trailer for cutting firewood for that, and I've got my eye on one, but there again, the ones that I want, is the polar one, but I want the one that holds 3/4 ton. Most of the ones that are in stock are the smaller ones. So I'll have to see. I might end up having to order one of them and then have to go and pick it up. Or there is one that I found that could be shipped to me, though it would cost me, like $75 more to have it shipped here, directly here. But you gotta, with the cost of fuel now, you do have to kind of take that in consideration. If you have to drive any distance to pick something up, it takes a little calculating to see if maybe it isn't better to have them delivered directly to you. Because it would be an oversized parcel, and so it'd be, I don't know that UPS would take it. It might be something that would have to be shipped freight, which is always a problem, because every time I get something shipped freight, then I have to try to meet them out at the highway, and you never know quite when they're going to be there, and it gets to be awkward. So we'll debate on this a little. I don't need it at the moment, though I would use it, if I had it now. But I'm hoping, like I say, both Tractor Supply Company and Fleet Farm carry them. I'll have to check closer to make sure they don't have, the ones they've got on display are the smaller ones, but it could be that they have them disassembled in the back room, because I swear it's like a wheelbarrow. They're designed that they can be shipped inside the tub. The wheels and everything are taken apart, so they go inside the tub on a pallet. Now, they might have them in stock there, so I will have to check into that a little bit. Because I'm going to buy one, I'm going to buy the bigger model. A small one would just mean a lot more trips. And this thing has got plenty of power. There's no lack of power. Well, let you go. But it's going to be interesting the next couple weeks. Things could go. I fully expect things to really go to hell. You always hope that there's some reason involved in this, and that people will refrain from, drastic, dramatic moves, but it could happen. We'll see.